innovation. This is a mecca of rural innovation, and we think we should plug in terms of assisting this traditional council to be able to take forward the plans that they are actually having. We are here as a party already, working with the communities here. Our People's Red Caravan was launched here, and we believe that if we can carry all this, we can be able to liberate our people and drive our economy. And we need to strengthen our municipalities. I rule, ANC, I rule.
Sizawufumana a song. Emva koko sicela upresident apresent a statement se-NEC. Underline. Upresident upresenta a statement se-NEC. National Executive Committee ipresenta a statement. Kodwa izawuvulelwa i-revolutionary song.
Se topore supa na ke dimago ga re mme ga sule e tla re ke dipitsiri di bone ka mewala ntšanyana wa itase wa tana tautona Cyril Ramaphosa matamela kwano go ita ka mmina modumo morebo moretito se Afrika ke go ba maina mafatso matsantsabane se nga dinto matsantsabane a ditiro tsa gago o kile wa busa South Africa ka botshepegi go le mashago le soro tshega fa bogile le rago Motsetsi a jaka letsogo ka nako ya COVID-19 wa itlola matlhere wa potaka fa le kafa mano malgolo le go sireletsa South Africa o ka kapa o tsibega kharakara se go nna mane tsetla tausi bata tautona nna ya tlhamano ga se di go sita leso botshela marakala se fela ke tena ka tsa tholodi motsopodia tsela gapa ga ela tsenageng Nkwa tshwara thata tlhese re go utlwa sebono gauke Ramaphosa tshwara thata se re go utlwa makale lefufa la malaka la tsile wa radipolotiki wa tlogela go tlotla le go tlotlomatsa le go busa South Africa ka botshepegi ere ba go botsa gore ke ba mosimane gore ke mosimane a motshwene mwana tshwene makopo selo se mariri se malekeleke o tsogaditsa pokosetso mo bokone bophirima bojanala Moses Kotane madikwe mogwase o Moruleng go pele matsorotsoro ene le Ramaphosa a tla kgona re direle. Tango.
Amandla. Amandla. Viva ANC, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva Sanko, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. Roar, young lions, roar. Amandla. Bagaetso ke ema mo go le dumedisa. Ke simolle ka go leboga ke dumedise modulasetulo wa African National Congress o tsamaisang tiro ya gompieno. Ke dumedise Re Paul Mashatile, Deputy President wa African National Congress. Ke dumedise le go leboga modulasetulo wa province ya rona Re Comrade Nono Maloi for tiro entle ya go bankanya gore re be mo provinceng ya Bokone Bophirima beke kaofela yona ba entse tiro entle gagolo a re ba shapeleng matsogo baetapele ba province ena. Ke dumedise kgosi ya rona Nyalala Pilane, mongwe wa mmu wa mona wa bakgatla ba kgafela, re re kgosi re a go dumedisa le bohle ba o sebetsang le bona. I greet the national officials and members of the ANC National Executive Committee, the leadership of COSATU, the SACP and SANCO. I also extend my greetings to representatives of the ANC and leadership of the ANC Veterans League, the ANC Women's League, the ANC Youth League, and representatives and leaders of Umkhonto weSizwe Liberation War veterans. I also extend greetings to the veterans and stalwarts of our movement, and also would like to thank representatives of fraternal movements and political parties who are here present. Earlier this morning, I spoke to President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the president of ZANU-PF, who asked me to extend his greetings and congratulations to the African National Congress on the day of our anniversary. I also would like to thank and greet members of the diplomatic corps who are here present, our traditional leaders, our religious leaders, and more broadly, the people of South Africa. Comrades and friends, we bring you warm revolutionary greetings as well as best wishes for the year from the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. By direction and instructions of the National Executive Committee, I have the pleasure to present this January 8th statement for 2026 on behalf of the NEC, as said by the National Chairperson. We gather here in Moruleng, in the heartland of Moses Kotane local municipality. Re leboga go ba mona ha re keteka letsatsi la tswalo re kgobagane mona Moruleng. mo bogareng jwa masepala wa selegae wa Moses Kotane mo provinceng ena ya Bokone Bophirima. Re tlo keteka ngwaga wa 114 years ya go tlhongwa ga ANC. On this historic occasion, we pay tribute to the warriors, the founders and the freedom fighters who made supreme sacrifices during the long journey to freedom and democracy. We focus particularly on those who emerged from our host province. We are a movement that is well endowed with incredible leadership from across the length and the breadth of our country. And today, as we are here in Northwest, we remember the leadership of the African National Congress and our movement that emerged from this province and struggled for our freedom. We salute our warrior kings, our queens and chiefs who opposed colonialism and apartheid and the Bantustan system. We urge present-day traditional leaders across the length and the breadth of our country to emulate the example of service and loyalty to the people demonstrated by those outstanding royal patriots. We also pay tribute to the founders and builders of our movement who came from or struggled in this province from the 1800s through to the 1980s. These include leaders like Sol Plaatje, who was Secretary General of the African National Congress, George Monsiwa, Moses Kotane, Dr. Silas Mudiri Mulema, Josephine Palmer Mpama, Dr. Ruth Mompati, Stephen Sikhale, Victor Sefura, J.B. Marx, Job Tabane, also known as Cassius Make, Edna Molewa, Dr. Sam Musunyani Isop, and Aziz Pahad, Bani Mulukwani, and Unkgopotse Tiro. We remember them fondly for the incredible sacrifice that they paid to get us where we are today. As we mark the 70th anniversary of the Women's March, we honor and acknowledge the immense contribution of women to the national liberation struggle. In this province, we highlight the struggle of rural women from Lihurutsi and surrounding villages who mobilized and marched against the past laws in 1957. We also paid tribute to Kgosi Ramuchere Muilwa, a fearless opponent of apartheid. We also today we're honored to have 7 surviving members of the Luthuli detachment amongst us. Morwaga Mugapi, Ntolopi Muntsusi, June Polo, Radilori, Muamakwe, Reed Ramasire, Spokes Mutupi, and Daniel Kena. Areba Shapeleng Matsoho, Kabani, Kiba Chapeli Bailimba Luanela Tukuluhoyarun. We also honor today Kgosi Liboni Molutlehi of Bafokeng for his uncompromising struggle against the Bantustan system. Our 114th anniversary coincides with the 50th anniversary of the 1976 student uprisings. We take this opportunity to salute the young lions of our struggle for freedom and democracy. And in that regard, we continue to say, roar, young lions, roar. Roar, young lions, roar. We continue to thank and honor the young people of our country for the immense contribution they've made to advance our struggle. The generation of 1976 injected energy and renewed dynamism into our liberation movement, necessitating the intensification as well as expansion of political and military training. This generation became the backbone of mass democratic movement of the 1980s, of the trade union movement, of the civic and women's organizations, and the youth and student formations, which responded overwhelmingly to President Oliver Tambo's call to make the apartheid system unworkable and South Africa ungovernable. We thank the people of the Northwest for their continued overwhelming support for the ANC. The Northwest occupies an increasingly critical position in South Africa's national economy. With its rich mineral resources, it has become the major producer of the platinum group of metals. It is also strong in ecotourism, cultural industries, and agriculture. The role of traditional leadership in the effective governance and development of communities is critical in this province and across our country. We call on government to work constructively with our traditional leaders as part of a united effort to build vibrant rural communities and local economies. This year, we celebrate 30 years since the adoption of our Constitution. The Constitution that was adopted in 1996 is the birth certificate of our nation. It defines and shapes who we are as a nation and as a people and what we aspire to become. We therefore call on South Africans this year to celebrate this achievement as a living document recognized globally as amongst the best constitutions in the world. Re leboga lena batho ba South Africa ka gore le ile la kwala constitution e phalang di-constitution tse ngata mo lefatsheng lotlhe. Constitution ya lona e phala tse ngata le tsa dinaga tse iponang o kare di kgolo ebile di betere mo go rona. 30 years ago, President Nelson Mandela signed the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa into law in Sharpeville on the 10th of December 1996 on International Human Rights Day. Through this constitution, the people of South Africa declared for our country and the world to know that we, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past. We honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land. We respect those who have worked to build and develop our country and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, fundamental human rights. We lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law, improve the quality of life of all citizens, and free the potential of each person, and build a united, democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. That constituted and constitutes the preamble of our Constitution, which in many ways is the real foundation stone of our Constitution. The Constitution, therefore, is the supreme law of our land, the basis for the transformation of our society into a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic state that is founded on the values of human dignity, the achievement of equality, and the advancement of human rights and freedoms. Our Constitution is both revolutionary and transformative because it advances the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution. First, to build a South African nation united in its beautiful diversity. Second, to build a democratic and developmental state that meets the needs of the people of South Africa. Third, to build a transformed, inclusive and thriving economy that works for all South Africans. And finally, to build a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous society based on the best of human values. The ANC is committed to pursue the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution even under the most challenging conditions, including in the current government of national unity and various coalition governments we have at various levels of government. The Constitution has profoundly transformed our country in as far as the legal landscape as well as the political landscape into a constitutional democracy. Molaotheo ona wa rona o fetotse South Africa mo mabakeng a mantsi. For 3 decades, our Constitution has anchored democratic governance, created independent institutions, expanded access to justice, and enabled major social advances in housing, in social protection, in broad infrastructure. These gains have raised the standards of living of millions of South Africans who lived on the margins of the apartheid state. It has empowered decisive action to dismantle the legacies of racial, gender, and class super-exploitation. Yet this 30th anniversary takes place amid increasingly strident attacks on constitutional values, the rule of law, and rule-based international order. Across the world, the values of democracy, equality, equity, inclusion, human solidarity, gender equality, and social justice are now under attack. The fundamental assertion of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that says the inherent dignity, the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world is under threat. These universal values of the Declaration of Human Rights are enshrined in the Freedom Charter and the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. This attack seeks to delegitimize any government that aims to address inequality like our government, whether between nations, communities, gender, race, and individuals. It seeks to undermine the existing rule-based order in the world and return human civilization to an era of might, where might is right, to an era of privilege, and to an era of subjugation, and to an era where imperialism becomes the order of the day for mighty and strong nations. 65 years ago, when accepting the 1961 Nobel Peace Prize, former president of the African National Congress, Chief Albert Luthuli said, "Our cause is the cause of the liberation of people who are denied freedom. Only on this basis can the peace of Africa and the world be firmly founded. Our cause is the cause of equality between nations and peoples. Only thus can the brotherhood and sisterhood of men, of humanity, be firmly established." The vast majority of South Africans, and indeed the global humanity, embrace these values that were so well articulated by Chief Albert Luthuli. The values of freedom, of equality, non-racialism, non-sexism, human solidarity. However, there is an increasingly vocal minority in our country that make common cause with this global attack on human rights and these values and actively propagate falsehoods. Their aim is to undermine South Africa's constitutional democracy, to undermine our non-racialism, non-sexism, and the transformation project. They employ multifaceted tactics, including the propagation of blatant falsehoods, such as the claim that there is white genocide in South Africa. They do this to attract sympathy and solidarity from global racist movements and individuals. On the one hand, they form and fund political parties designed to fragment the motive forces of change. On the other hand, they sow the seeds of regime change, establish parallel state structures, and foment secessionist tendencies. Reversing the gains of democracy by any means has become increasingly open objectives of domestic anti-transformation forces and their global allies. Therefore, given these challenges, the current conjuncture demands that we build the broadest united front to defend, consolidate, and advance the national democratic revolution, to advance our constitutional democracy as well as status as a sovereign country in the family of nations. Ke ka moo re reng, la ba ka leka eng le eng, ba ka se re tlhole re le naga e ya South Africa. Batho ba South Africa re kopane, re ntho e le nngwe, re ka se dumele gore re ilo tlholwa ke bao ba batang go etsa dintho tse tsileng tsileng. Le gona, that is why we say we as a people refuse to be divided. We refuse even to be bullied by anyone, whether here or around the world. And our rallying call continues to be, we will not be bullied. We are South Africans. We are united in our will and our resolve. Bao ba batlang gore divider, they must think again. We are not willing to be divided. We must therefore defend, consolidate, and advance our constitution and the institutions of our constitutional democracy, and ensure that these institutions work for all. We must defend, consolidate, and advance the rights of the workers in our country, the informal sector of business, the small businesses, the farmers, and the middle strata. We must defend and consolidate and advance quality basic services and the expansion of housing, of education, of healthcare, of electricity, of water, of sanitation, and of social security net, of building roads, broadband services, and infrastructure to millions of South Africans. We say today as the NEC that it is our revolutionary duty to defend, consolidate, and advance women's rights, the war on gender-based violence and femicide, and the building of a non-sexist South Africa. Re batla gore boao ba ntse ba tswella pele le gender-based violence ba itse gore matsatsi a bona a fedile, ka bane re ka se tlhole re dumela bo mme le basetsana ba rona ba be subjected to gender-based violence. Re batla gore banna ba South Africa ba tlhompe bo mme le basetsana ba South Africa. Re ha re bona bo mme ba ausi le basetsana le bo nkgono, re be re bona batho ba re tshwanetseng gore re ba tlhompe, re ba fe tlhompo, re be re khumame pele ga bona, re re ra le tlhompa, ra le leboga gore le ba fumahadi ba mona South Africa. We are required to defend, to consolidate and advance the rights of young men and women to education. Re re thuto ke yona e botlhokwa gagolo mo bophelong ba rona kaofela. Ka Mantaga go tlo ntshiwa di-results tsa matric, ke mo re tla bonang gore a na mosebetsi o tiro e ya rona ya tsa thuto e ntse e tswella pele na. Ke a kgolwa gore mo Northwest re tlane re bone tswelopele e pila ya thuto, ka gobane bo bekeng e ke kopane le batjha ba bantsi ba ileng ba mpontsha gore ka nnete thuto ba e rata. Re mo batswading re etse sure gore bana ba rona ba ska tlogela sekolo. Sekolo ke bophelo. Go tshwanetse gore bana ba rona for dilemo tse 12 kaofela ba be ba le sekolong ba ithute go etsetsa gore ba fumane di-skills bokgoni bo tlhokagalang mo economing ya rona. We want to create jobs and economic opportunities and opportunities to use young people to use their energy, their creativity and innovation to build their communities and their country. However, we must also recognize that our own weaknesses and failures in service delivery, in governance and slow pace of economic growth, as well as the high levels of unemployment, have demoralized and alienated many individuals in our country. Le go menagane go le jwalo, re tshwanetse gape go lemoga gore ha re palelwa borona mo ditirong tse tshwantseng gore di dietse, batho ba fellwa ke pelo, ba tsamaya ba tloga gaufi le rona. Re tshwanetse gore re etse matsapa ohle, really ANC, re bontshe sentle gore re sebeletsa setšhaba sa heso. We cannot blame our people if they question whether our democracy, our constitution or our economy, and indeed our movement and the alliance really work for them. It is these weaknesses and failures that the tasks outlined below seek to address. Re a dumela gore there are areas where there have been shortcomings, but we now, as the ANC, focus on the tasks that the National Executive Committee has outlined that we need to address and embark upon to correct those weaknesses in order for the African National Congress to serve the interests of our people and to reclaim its key role of being the leader of society. In order to defend and to consolidate and to advance our organization, our government, and our country, we have identified 6 tasks for progressive and patriotic forces to embark upon in 2026. Gore re kgone go sireletsa le go kopanya le go tsweletsa pele mokgatlo wa rona, go na le ditiro tse tshwantseng gore re di etse. Firstly, we must focus on fixing local government and improving basic services. Re tshwanetse go lokisa bo masepala ba rena gore bo masepala ba rona ba sebeletse setšhaba. Sa bobedi, we must speed up economic transformation, inclusive growth, and job creation. Sa boraro, we must wage war on crime and corruption and tackle gender-based violence and femicide as a national disaster. Fourthly, we must build a South Africa that belongs to all through the national dialogue process, as well as the 30th anniversary of our Constitution. And fifthly, we must make organizational renewal visible and irreversible. And finally, we must build a better Africa and a better world. Ha re ka etsa re sebetse go re etse ditiro tse 6, ke gona mo re tla kgonang go bona gore ka nnete re tla ba re tsweletse pele. The first task for our movement in 2026 is to fix local government and improve basic services. In last year's January 8th statement, we emphasized ending load shedding and ensuring a consistent supply of water by upgrading, maintaining, and expanding municipal infrastructure while tackling sabotage and corruption. We have seen dramatic improvements in electricity provision by ESCOM, alongside improved private investment in electricity investment. However, there is municipal load reduction that continues to disrupt daily life. Mo ne re tsamaya teng gona mo Northwest, re kopane le batho ba bantsi ba ne ba lla ba re motlakase o dula o wa, ba lla ba re motlakase a o tshumi nako tsohle. Ntho eo a e etswe ke load shedding, e etswa ke load reduction. Ka nako tse ding motlakase wa wa, o wiswa ke gore go na le bao ba etsang di-connection tse seng molaong. There's those illegal connections ke tsona tse wisang motlakase ka hobane a di kopane sentle di-wire tse tsa teng, dithapo tse tsa teng. Go gong go etswa ke gore yes, go na le batho ba bantsi ba dulang sebakeng se itseng and dithapo tseo a di soka di tiiswa ka tsela e tshwanetseng. So we call on electricity users, yes, to ensure that we desist from illegal connections, and we also want to call on government to ensure that when there is load reduction, there is immediate reconnection. Go na le bao ba segang dithapo tsa motlakase. Mo ne ke ile teng boikotlong, ba ne ba njwetsa gore go na le ba bang ba segang dithapo. So all those things must be properly investigated. We also call on municipalities to strengthen their billing services and collection systems, and to honor debt repayment commitments to ESCOM and act decisively against illegal connections and vandalism. Last year, we elevated water security as a priority task for 2025. Government currently has 13 major water resource infrastructure projects across the country under implementation, including the Lesotho Highlands Water Project to provide additional water to Gauteng, and the Mkomazi Water Project to provide additional water to eThekwini. In the Northwest, the Department of Water and Sanitation has allocated 1.2 billion to improve the water provision in the Northwest Province. Mmuso o ntsha 1.2 billion gore re baakanye mathata a metsi mo Northwest, and tiro eo e tla etswa e tla simollwa go se kgale. The ANC calls on all government agencies to continue providing support to municipalities to access the services, the trading services grant, so that they can leverage private sector investment. The ANC also calls on all municipalities to ring-fence water revenue. Households that cannot pay for water and electricity must be placed on the indigent register. Le ga le itse go na le tšhelete e tswang mo mmusong e beilweng gore e thuse bao ba sa kgoneng go patala metsi le motlakase, ba tshwanetse gore ba ile ngodisa ko masepala, ba be mo registereng e re bitsang indigent register. We want ANC branches and communities to assist the police in tackling those who sabotage water infrastructure to sustain water tankering businesses. Over the next 3 years, national government will invest 54 billion rand to repair water and electricity infrastructure in a number of areas, especially in our metros. In today's digital age, connectivity and internet access have become basic necessities, and therefore we need to ensure that this is speeded up. We are expanding connectivity throughout the country through the SA Connect program. We call on all municipalities to make services and payments available online to improve access to citizens. Local government remains the sphere closest to the citizens of our country, and therefore we must find most direct expression of the will of our people through local government. Municipalities must therefore fulfill their basic obligations. They must fix potholes. They must remove refuse regularly. They must keep communities clean and green, and they must provide clean water and sanitation. Re re mo bo masepala ba rona ba tshwanetse gore ba lokise di potholes mo ditseleng tsa rona. And tiro e ya go lokisa di potholes a se tiro e thata. Ha re ka etsa di program tsa letsema, re ka kgona gore re kwale di potholes tse re di bonang go gotlhe. Municipalities must also increase funding for infrastructure, and municipal administration must be ethical, capable, with professional management, insulated from undue political interference and capture. Re batla gore bo masepala ba rona ba sebetse pila go ska ba le bao ba dipolotiki ba tla bang ba interfere le bao ba mo administration. Re dumele ba administration ba etse ditiro tsa bona, and le corruption mo e fele e fediswe go etse mesebetsi sentle. We call on municipal administration to strengthen financial management so that scarce resources are used first and foremost to provide services and to develop our towns and communities. We call on all ANC structures, as well as progressive society and community organizations, to participate actively in the process that has started to review the white paper on local government with a view of strengthening our municipalities. Too often, public trust in local government is undermined by councillors who are distant from their constituencies and perceived as unresponsive to local problems. It is imperative that ANC councillors must reconnect with their wards and restore public trust. Gantsi thata re fumana gore bao ba leng makhanselara a rona ba tsamaela ko thoko le setšhaba, a ba ikatumetse gaufi le setšhaba, ebile ba bang ba bona a ba bitse le di-meeting tsa setšhaba go tlhalosetsa batho gore ditiro tsa bona ke di feng na. Yaanong re re selemong se bao ba sa etseng ditiro tse tshwanetseng ba le di-councillor tsa rona re tlo ba ntsha ditulong tsa bona. Le bao ba utswang tšhelete ya setšhaba le bona re tla ba ntsha ditulong tsa bona. Re re bao ba kgethilweng o ka ba o kgethilwe ko local government ko masipaleng ko provinceng le ko national ha o sa sebetse ka tsela e tshwanetseng yaanong re tla kenya phafa re tla bantsha mo ditulong tsa bona ke yona tsela e re bonang gore e ka lokisa mesebetsi ya rona. Now, local government also has a central role in the economic development and job creation. We call on all our municipalities to ensure that the local economic development plans reflect comparative advantages of each area and build partnerships with the private sector. Ke mo re reng the district development model e re na leng yona ya gore bao ba na leng boikarabelo mo nthong tse dintsi mo masipaleng ba sebetse ba tshwarane matsogo go be le cooperation go be le collaboration so that we can advance the interests of our people. Municipalities must participate into revitalization of our industrial parks, our special economic zones, to attract investment that supports local manufacturing and create jobs. Municipalities must also review bylaws to improve the ease of doing business and reduce red tape and to enable small, medium enterprises and informal businesses to be able to operate effectively. We call on municipalities to optimize public employment programs and to implement preferential procurement that supports local businesses, especially township and village-based enterprises. The second task of the year is to speed up economic transformation to foster inclusive growth and job creation. A transformed, inclusive and thriving economy that works for all South Africans is the central objective of the ANC's economic strategy. Our strategy for inclusive growth includes accelerated infrastructure investment, forward-looking industrial policy, improved service delivery, land reform, transformative spatial planning, and Black economic empowerment and supportive microeconomic policies that are aimed to enable the women of our country to be empowered economically, to get into business, to run their businesses. That enables the young people of our country to acquire skills and to assist them when they want to form their own businesses. Growth must drive radical social and economic transformation through the redistribution of wealth and opportunity. After 15 years of low growth, we are beginning to see the signs that the economy is approaching a turning point. Projections indicate that through disciplined implementation of the ANC 10-point pro-economic action plan, we can meet our targets on inclusion of growth and employment. Our investment philosophy must enable private sector investment in national infrastructure, revitalization through diverse funding mechanisms, while maintaining strategic state ownership and effective regulatory control. A social compact that unites government, labor, civil society, and business around a coherent national investment strategy to accelerate growth and the development is an important priority, the ANC has remained steadfast in defense of constitutional imperative to redress past imbalances and promote the empowerment of Black South Africans, youth and women. We have agreed that industrial policy must be a leading instrument of economic development, positioning diverse industries to succeed in an increasingly digitized and decarbonized world economy. We are making significant headway in improving the efficiency of our railways and ports. Support for local informal businesses and micro-enterprises will be central to our program of transformation and inclusive growth. Since October 2020, new public employment programs have created earning opportunities for over 2 million participants, the majority of whom were young people and women. The National General Council that we held in December mandated the ANC to ensure that government reforms the skills system to better meet the needs of the economy and to ensure that young people are equipped for employment and entrepreneurship. And this includes strengthening basic education